We have our regular viewers that are with us every week. Oh my goodness. I think YouTube, Facebook is a bit lean. Guys, if I look lean, tell me. I'm trying to fix this thing. We have our regular viewers. All right, so every week. Awesome. All right, so we are live on YouTube. We are also live on Facebook. Those of you who are in the chat, please type your comments and let me know that you're able to hear me. All right, so I see people are just popping in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we are live in two places. We are live in the Teacher Entrepreneur Success Club. That's our Facebook group. We are also live on YouTube, and we're going to get started in just about a minute. So tonight we're going to be talking about writing that book already, that book you've been sitting on, whether you have an idea for a book or you have a book just sitting down there on your computer that you need to put together. Let's talk about how we're going to get that done. All right, let's talk about that tonight. All right, so while we're waiting on people to pop on, so another minute or so, I'm going to ask that you copy the link that is in your browser. If you're on your mobile phone, just look for the share icon, share it with a few people in WhatsApp, share it with a few people via email. If you want to Facebook it, if you want to slide into some people's DMs on Instagram, go ahead and share. Because I know a lot of you come on here every single Monday night and just soak up everything for yourselves. And that's awesome. But I also want you to share it, because if it can help you, you never know how many other people's lives a session like this can transform. So I want you to go ahead and copy the link if you're on your browser, on your computer, sorry, and share it with someone you know. Or if you are on your mobile phone and you're watching us from there, go ahead and just click the share icon and send it to somebody right now. All right, guys, so we are ready to go. 1 more minute and we're going to be live. Are you able to hear me clearly? Forgot to do a sound check. So now you should be able to hear. I was hearing myself earlier while I was on YouTube. So 1 more minute and we are going to get started. All right, guys. All right, so hit the share button and then we're gonna jump into it. Did I just say gonna? All right, so for those of you who are watching the replay, you might want to fast forward by about 3 or 4 minutes. So you can skip all of the little fancy introduction that I'm sharing right now and you jump straight into the content. All right, so we are ready to go. Are you ready to go? Type in the comments and let me know if you are ready to go. Once you give me the nod of approval, then we jump right into things. All right. How are you doing? First of all, last week we had an amazing session. Like, if you have not watched last week's session, please make sure once we are done, you just go back and look at last week's session, because there are so many people who were on last week's session that got just so much clarity and so much value. Like, people were still talking about it days after. I had some discovery sessions with a few people and it was a talk of the town. So go ahead and watch last week's session. Like, it's one of those things that you need to get. Like, just go and watch it and trust me. And it's free. It's on YouTube. I ain't charging you for it. So go ahead and watch it. You'll find that there's something in there that is going to help you to improve your business. All right, so let's jump right into this session. So for this session, we are going to be talking about how you can just get that book out there into the world. Now, I'm not a book writing expert, but I think this little book in my hand gives me some kind of authority, and I made sure to have it here to show to you that, that I have a little bit of an expertise in this area. So this is the very first book that I authored. It's called Think It, Teach It, Sell It, a blueprint for creating and publishing courses online. So if you're looking to start or create an online course, you're going to want to get this book. Now, for those of you who are a part of my Course Vault program, that's like advanced training on how to create online courses, and you are way ahead of the rest. If you're not ready to sign up for the Course Vault training, where I teach you from start to finish how to build out your online course, this is a good place to start. Now, when I first published this book in 2020, yes, 2020, it was quite an experience. And for the very first time that I was publishing my book, I honestly didn't know that the process would be that easy. As much as we had a few hiccups along the way, generally the process was fairly simple. And before we leave this session, I'm going to share with you just a step by step as to what I had to go through to get this book from off of, as a matter of fact, from out of my head onto my computer, and then from off of my computer for it to be an actual physical product that I am selling right now and earning from. But here's the thing with a lot of individuals, and this is what I found. So one of my coaches a few days ago literally riveted this into my head, because I found myself in one of these categories. And as I share, I want you to think about yourselves and think, which one of these categories do you fall into? Because either way, you're going to have to drag yourself up by the reins and get that book out there into the world, right? So listen, and you're going to just type yes in the comments of if this is you. So you had an idea for a book, right? And you've been thinking about it for the longest while. And you say, you know, I need to write a book. I'm pretty good at this. I think I could come up with a book on this. But you have been thinking about this for the past 2 months, and 2 months turned into 2 years, and 2 years for some of you may have turned into 2 decades. And it's been months and months and months and months and years and years and years that you've been thinking about writing that book. Did I touch on anybody's current? Like, is that you? Are you the person who have been thinking about writing the book for the longest while, but for whatever reason, the book has not gone public as yet? Is that you? Type in the comments and let me know if you are guilty. Because if you are guilty, then this session is for you. Is that you? All right. So if that's not you, this is the other thing, the other one that you might be able to identify with, right? Do you have a book that you started to write? And this was me, guys. You started to write this book. Piece of it is on your computer. Piece of it is on your phone. Piece of it is written down on a paper somewhere, and you have half of the book or quarter of the book all over the place. But you stopped. You just stopped. You completely stopped, and you decided, you know what? I can't be bothered with this book thing. Or yes, you want to be bothered, but you don't feel the motivation and the drive to continue to bring this book to completion. Is that person you? Like, that person was me. I know, because I had documents. I had an outline of a book on my computer that I just kept looking at week after week and did absolutely nothing with it. And I had all the information here up in my head. And I was just stuck right there. So is that person you? Are you the person who has the idea of writing a book? And that's just where it stopped. You just stopped at the idea. Or are you the person who started to write the book? Maybe you've had the outline or you had some notes, but you haven't quite gotten the book together yet. Who are you? Who are you? Let me know in the comments. But either way, whichever person you are, here is what I don't want to call her a coach, but this is the person who helped me to publish this book, right? Here is what she said to me. And when she told me that, I realized there was so much truth to it. She said, Julia, the hardest part in writing a book is actually writing the book. Let me say that again. The hardest part about writing a book is writing the book. Like getting the words out of your head, getting them whether on paper or on your computer, or getting them in an organized outline is the most difficult part of writing a book. And that is where most people get stuck why the book is not published. Most people stop there. They stop at the idea or they stop at the notes on their computer, and that's where it ends. Because it's kind of like just a mental block because of the fact that either maybe you've never published a book before, so you feel some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, shucks, the word slipped me, guys. So you kind of feel fearful. Fearful is not the word I want. Intimidated, right? That's the word. Intimidated to move forward with writing a book, right? When you write a book, you get a little bit of exposure. It exposes you to who you are, right? It exposes you to the rest of the world. And some of you might not be ready for the video light, ready for the camera light, and you're not exactly sure if you can handle it. And there's the mental block where some of us think that we are not writers. A lot of persons, they don't write because they don't consider themselves a writer. And I'm going to share with you a little bit later on why you need to write a book, even though you don't consider yourself a writer. Right? Somebody in the comments is saying that they are none of the above. They're just here for the valuable information. Thank you, Sonny. Yes, the name is actually Sonny. So yeah, so we get stuck at having the information there and not putting out into the world. But when that young lady said to me that writing a book, the most difficult part of writing is actually writing it, like that blew open another sphere for me, because I realized that the hardest part of getting the book out there was just me stopping myself from putting the words down on paper. And so when you get to the point where you realize that you want to author a book, here is what I recommend. To get over that mental block, set aside a good 10, 15 minutes every day. If it is even before you go to your bed, just 10 or 15 minutes and dedicate, set your alarm if you have to. Sit in front of your computer, or if you're the person who loves to write it in a book. I recommend typing, because if you type it, it's going to make the processing of the information so much easier. But I know there are writing people out there, they have to write everything out from start to finish, and then you transfer it onto your electronic device. But if you type it from the start, that's going to make your life a whole lot easier. So take 10 minutes before you go to your bed, or the first thing when you wake up in the morning, and all you're going to do is sit in front of your device and just type. Whatever comes to your head, just type it out. What you're trying to do is just to clear your mind. You're not trying to organize the information into chapters. No. You are not trying to put things in the order that you think they should go. No, you're not trying to do any sort of editing, like fixing any words that you spelled correctly. If you see a couple of errors, move on. If you don't have to correct them, just move on. Just keep on typing. At this point, all you are trying to do is get the book out of your head. Because so many of us walk around with the book inside of our heads, and we dream about the day that we become an author, and that book stays up here forever. So dedicate some time, 15 minutes per day, to just write. Free your mind, clear your mind, get it out. And once you've gotten that out, that's when we start the formatting and the end. Let me tell you something about this book. The minute I sat down and decided that, you know what, this book must get published before the end of 2019. That was my resolve. I said, this book must get published before the end of 2019. I sat in a coffee shop that very same day, and in about 2.5 hours, I believe, and I have it written here and here, in about 2.5 hours, I had, 3 hours, I had already done 2.5 chapters, something of that sort. Or was it in 2 hours, I had done 3.5 chapters? But the point I'm trying to make, I wrote multiple chapters. The first few chapters of this book were written in one day. Me sitting in a coffee shop, watching people go by, buying their coffee in and out, and listening to some classical music over the air. In just a few hours, about a third of this book was already written. Why? Because I found that everything I needed for this book was already in here. And some of you, well, most of, if not all of you, are so knowledgeable that everything that you need to write your book is already in here. And all you need to do is get it out of your head. And that is why that 10-15 minutes every day is going to be so important for you to just clear your mind and release everything that you have been thinking about in relation to write your book. So that's tip number 1. Set aside some specific time. Early mornings are great. I'm a morning person. So I'm up at 3 a.m. in the morning, just basking in the peace and quiet that the early morning brings. If you're a morning person like me, get up a few minutes earlier and just set aside that time. Just decide, okay, for the next month, I'm going to get up half an hour earlier, 20 minutes earlier, wash my face, brush my teeth, and just settle myself, and then take the next 15 minutes to sit around my computer and get all the content out of your head. That's going to be so helpful. And that's going to be so valuable to you completing that book that you so desire. So once you've gotten that out of your head, and remember I said to you, we're not editing, we're not formatting, we're not even correcting errors. At this point, we're just clearing our head. Once you've gotten that out of your head, and let's say in a month's time, or even 2 weeks for that matter, you've gotten everything out on paper. That is the time now you're going to spend to look back at any errors you made, format your book, and organize your content based on the chapters. And you alone can decide the logical order in which your book is going to be written. You can write it from the perspective of delivering a transformation. For example, when I wrote this book, right, the transformation that I expected at the end of somebody reading this book is that they should have a clear idea of how to create their online courses. So think about the different steps in the process of creating your course, right? What is step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3? What is step 4? What is step 5? Etc., etc. You can write your book like that. If you are writing a reflective book, say you're doing an autobiography or you're using your story to deliver a message, you can write it from the point of view, okay, this is what happened in the past, this is how I'm dealing with this in the present, and these are the recommendations I'm recommending to you, and this is what your future should look like. So you can write it from the past, present, future perspective. Like there's so many different perspectives that you can look on. Like the last book I had a chance to review, one of my friends was writing a book, and she asked me to review it. Her perspective was like, she had a story that she wanted to share a message, and she basically told the story of what happened to her, and at the end of each chapter she shared a lesson based on that aspect of her story. So you alone can decide the perspective from which you're going to organize your book. And once you've made that decision, you're going to have your titles there accordingly. So quick example from my book here. Where's the table of contents? Where art thou? Okay, so in the table of contents, I have mine arranged in an order in such that you can just use this particular order and create your online course. My online teaching journey, that's just my little backstory of how I got into online courses. Why do you want to teach online? I make you assess and internalize certain things. And then I debunk some of the myths of people who say, I'm not a teacher, I want to create an online course, but Julia, you're a teacher, you're good at this. How can I create an online course if I'm not a teacher? Okay, once you've gotten that out of the way, you decide, what can you teach online? Like what? Because that is going to be the premise for everything else you do. And then where can you teach online? What are the different platforms? How exactly do you teach online? How to get students to pay for your course? What tools do you need to get started? And then I give a conclusion and I wrap. And this is essentially my 100 and odd pages, 90 odd pages of information written in a single book. And when I wrote this book, I thought of it from the reporter's perspective. So that's another perspective you can look at it from. So I answered all of the WH questions. And anybody who wrote composition in high school, you know all these WH questions: the who, the what, the when, the why, the how. And I'm missing one, I don't recall it. But when I was writing that book, I thought about how can I answer all of those questions in this book about online courses. So the who can create an online course? Who are you creating the course for? What am I going to create my online course for? Where, when, why, how, etc., etc. So that's an angle that you can pull your course from, especially if you're writing a factual piece, right? So look at all the different angles that you can write your book from. Now, here's the thing. I hired somebody to help me to put this book together. If you want to do that, that's completely up to you. Like, I didn't want to go through the headache of figuring things out of my own, making any mistake and having to go back and fix stuff. Like, I didn't want that. So I went ahead from day one and hired somebody who I believe was well knowledgeable about book publishing in order to assist me, right? But I have, on the other hand, known people who publish their own books by themselves. They have zero expertise in book publishing, but they went and they researched and they did things on their own. Now, I love the easy way out. I'm going to tell you all that. I prefer the easy way out, and I will pay for an easy way out. So that's exactly what I did. I paid somebody to help me publish the book so I could avoid the headache and the mishaps and the mistakes. So if you want your life to be so much easier, find a book coach that is going to help you to get your book out into the world, right? I am not her. I am not a book coach. I'm just sharing with you based on my experience of publishing my own book. So if you want a book coach, Julia Barnes, the boss teacher, is not the girl. There are tons out there. A few of them I can recommend as well, but she's not me. Okay, so get yourself a book coach. It's going to make your life so much easier, right? But here's the thing. Book publishing in 2020 is not as difficult as it used to be 10 years ago. Back in the day, what I know about book publishing, you would have to carry your script to a publishing house, and they decide whether or not they want to publish your book. And if they reject it, you go to another publishing house. And they reject it, you go to another publishing house. And you keep moving from publishing house to publishing house until somebody decides that, hey, I finally think your book is worth publishing, and they help you with the process. Nowadays, 2, Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, and you're done in 24 hours. Like literally, once your book is written, and that's why I say get it out of your head, because the rest of the process is so much easier. I see the comments coming up, guys. I'm going to be responding to them in a few. So don't think I am ignoring you. I'm seeing every single one of them popping up. All right. So, and yeah, for those of you who are not sharing in the comments, you can go ahead and ask your questions, share your comments, and I'm definitely coming to them in 7 minutes, right? In 7 minutes, we're going to be jumping into Q&A, right? So KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, you can easily Google that. KDP, aka also known as Kindle Direct Publishing, is one of the easiest ways to get your books out to the world. You basically upload your book, your script to Amazon, they approve it, and in a matter of 24 hours, you can have the ebook version of your book literally live online on Amazon, in the Amazon Kindle store, ready to sell. And if you choose to print a physical copy, it might take a while. I think maybe just about a few days more. Not that, I mean, in terms of the difference in time is not that great. And you can order your own copy of your book, and they sell it to you at publishing price. And you add your markup and sell it to your customers. And just a quick secret here, guys. Book publishing is not that expensive to do. It really, and it depends on, let's just say there are tons of other publishers outside of Amazon KDP that you can use. And so the cost of one book, what you get it for as the author, will vary depending on which platform you publish your book on. But on average, the copies that you get as the author are reasonably priced. And that's why you will find online that books are priced at, like, the range is so wide. Like, you will see a book selling for $40 and the same amount of pages from a different author selling for $8 or $10 or $15, $25, because of where they have ordered their own author's copy. Right? So once you have your script ready, it can literally take you 24 hours to have your book, the ebook version of your book ready for purchasing by your customers. All right, a few quick tips and in 5 minutes, I'm going to be jumping into the comment section so we can do a quick little chit chat. Okay, so why do you need to write a book? If you are in business at all, having the word author behind your name elevates your status. I don't know why it does, but it does. It really does. People see you. If you were never an expert before, once you have a book published anywhere, you are automatically seen as an expert by the general public. So like I am now the expert on online courses because I have written a book about it. If I didn't have this book, the expert status that I have built in some people's minds, in a lot of people's minds, would have been harder to come by. Like I'd have to prove myself a little bit more. But you see, once you have a book, try getting speaking engagements. You have a book, it becomes so much easier. Try getting onto the TV or on the radio for an interview to expose your brand. Like just being an author in and of itself exposes your business and your brand to a whole nother level of opportunities. It's just amazing. And I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't get it because book publishing is so easy. I was even watching a YouTube video where a guy literally printed a 100-page book that was blank. All the book had was a front cover, a back cover, and the rest of the pages were blank. And that was what he used to say he was an author. Ridiculous, but it happened. It happened. But the point I'm trying to make is that publishing a book is so easy nowadays, but it elevates you. So if you have a business, write a book. And the fact that you have a business, it means that you are knowledgeable in that particular area. You can't be running a business and you're not knowledgeable about it. Like, no, don't make any sense. So the fact that if you already have a business or you have a side hustle, it means that you are so knowledgeable in that particular area that it gives you the authority and the credibility to write a book, right? So you have all of that knowledge already in here. In the same way, it took me a couple of hours just to get out the first few chapters of my book. You have all of that up here already. So write the book and use it to elevate your brand. Now, why do you need to write a book? Like, sorry, not why, how? You can write a book based on what you currently know. So like I said, you already have a business, write a book in that area. When I just started out, I was deciding between writing this book and doing an anthology because I also write poems. Like I've been writing poems since I was in high school. So I have a whole heap of poems I can easily collate and put together an anthology, right? But I decided based on the direction I was going with my business, I realized where putting together a book of poems was not going to help me as much as writing a book about online courses. So I'm yet to publish that anthology. Like I'm not inspired to do it right now, but I'm yet to publish it. But I had to make that strategic decision. Do I publish this book of poems or do I publish this book on online courses? Made better sense to me to publish the book on online courses because now this has become a part of my brand. And whenever I'm pitching for speaking engagements, whenever people come to me and say, hey, Julia, what do you think they ask me about? Online business, online courses. Because I have that level of credibility in my niche, right? So when you're thinking about writing a book, think about what you already are doing. What are your expertise, right? What are you knowledgeable about? What are you known for? What do people come to you and ask you about all the time? A friend of mine the other day, she's an event planner, and she came and told me that she wrote a book. Like I gave her some advice and she went and wrote a book. So I'm going to give you the same advice I gave to her, right? So a few months ago, we did an event together and we were just talking randomly. And I said to her, like, you can just... all the questions that people come to you and ask you about, like what are the things that people come to you all the time and ask you about as an event planner, right? And so what she did was she started to make note of those questions. So when people come to her and ask her about this, about an event, that's about, she made a note of all of those things and she started to write them down. And what she did was, for all of those questions, she wrote a very detailed answer to each of those questions. And that detailed answer, are those detailed answers to a lot of the questions people have been asking her about event planning, became her first book. So that is my tip to you tonight. What are those questions that people come to you about all the time, about your area of expertise? Even if you don't think you have an area of expertise. Even before I was boss teacher, I was that girl. People were always coming to me and asking me about anything related to online. Like my teacher colleagues will always come to me and ask me how to fix your computer, how to find this website to teach this lesson. Where can I find this activity online, Julia? Show me how to use this website, blah, blah, blah. Anything related to technology and online, I was that teacher. My colleagues, my lecturers, everybody was looking for Julia, anything related to computer and technology. So I was that go-to person. So I knew some way, shape, or form, my business had to involve technology because I was that go-to girl all the time. So think about that for yourselves. Is there something that people are always coming to you and asking you about? And how can you respond to those questions and literally turn it into a book? That's what my event planner did. And she now has a book. All right. So in my training program, I don't talk about it in this book, but in the advanced program that I teach online, I teach people how to build out online courses. I talk about the CREST method. And I see one of my students, Shakiria, here online. She knows about this, the CREST method. What are you knowledgeable about? What have you gotten results on? What are you an expert at? And what are your signature stories? Those are the 4 main things I break down in detail to help you to really introspect and do some deep thinking. Like I ask you very specific questions so you can decide what you can create your online course about. And here's the thing, and I say this every time, the very same concepts I teach in my online course program is pretty much applicable to writing a book. Because that very same CREST method, K is for your knowledge, R is for results, E for expertise, and S is for your signature story. You can literally use the principles from the CREST method to come up with the content for your book. So when you're thinking about what you can write your book on, just think about those 4 things. What am I knowledgeable about? What advice have I given that I've seen results from? What am I an expert at? And what is my signature story? Now, I'm not going to go in details on explaining the entire CREST method to you. That is in my course vault training program. So if you're interested in that, and I literally just taught that this evening to the students in my business mentorship as well. Same principles. We are literally just flipping it. Okay, we're not creating online courses in this program. I'm helping you to build out your online business. And that's literally the same principles I use to help them to decide what product, what service, what concept am I going to use now to build out my online business on. All right. All right. So I hope that was helpful for you. Let me look at my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, we can talk about book marketing another day. Yeah, I have that in my notes, guys. But in terms of book marketing, how to sell your book, that's a whole nother session. So one of these Monday night sessions, I'm going to go through different strategies that you can use to actually sell more copies of your book. How does that sound? That sound like a good deal? Would you all show up for that? Marketing and selling strategies for your book. Like I have it here, but just like thinking about it, I said, no, that's going to take a whole nother session. So yeah, we'll do that another night. All right. So let me jump into the chat now to see what your questions are. Nia, I hope I'm saying this right. Anyway, teach along. I hope I'm saying this right. Writing and publishing is awesome. Do you have a book, Nie? Nie? N-I-E. How do you pronounce that? All right. Yeah. Do you have a book? Because I know it's super simple to use. All right. So Shakira, yes, Shakira is saying facts. Everything I'm saying is facts, facts, facts. Rachel is saying, I have someone who can help persons put their thoughts together. She's awesome. Rachel, you have a book? Wait a minute. What is going on? And let's see. Do you have any questions, guys? Type them in the comments. I'm going through right now. So Amanda Hannah Garel, you're recommending Amanda Hannah Garel on Instagram. She's on IG. Her handle is at creative_copy. Okay, awesome. So that's one person that you can check for resources on how to help you publish your book. Let me tell you who did mine. I want to make sure I get her business name because I know she's online as her business name and not her personal name. Okay, so it's extramileja.com. Extramileja.com. This is the individual that helped me to put my book together. I'm also familiar with Crystal Day. I know she has helped a lot of people in that I'm also familiar with publish their books. One of my colleagues is called Teria Vision Avant. You can find her by that name, Teria Vision Avant, on Instagram and Facebook as well. I know those three individuals are excellent at book publishing. And Rachel is recommending somebody in the comments as well. So you can check those individuals out for help with publishing your book. All right. Any questions in the comments? So my challenge to you for next week, while we're waiting on these questions and comments to come up, my challenge to you next week is commit to it. Decide that 2020 is the year that you're going to finish that book. Can you make that decision like this time? No, it was a little bit earlier in 2019 that I decided that my book should be done by the end of 2019. It was written and done by the end of 2019, but it didn't get fully published until the early part of 2020. And so I could easily consider myself an author by January. Yeah, we had done everything. January 2020 was when I got my author status. After I just finally decided that, you know what, this book must get done. Get it out of my head, get it onto paper. Extramileja, extramileja.com. extramileja.com. So you can check out the information there. All right, any question? Okay, so we have some people recommending other individuals in the comments. So Crystal Day did yours. Okay, yeah, I know Crystal. And Hillet Virgo. You have to be on YouTube to be seeing these comments, guys, just in case you're missing out. Hillet Virgo, that's Hilette, and Virgo is easy to spell. So a lot of book publishers being recommended in the comments. You can go and check them out. If you don't know any of these people or you can't find them, literally just Google somebody. I'm sure, or just Instagram, like search for the hashtag book publishers or write a book on Instagram. I'm pretty sure you'll find somebody that can assist you. Or ask around. If you guys want to send me a direct message, I can easily just respond with the handle to the people that I am familiar with. And you can get access to those. So the challenge for this coming week is for you to put aside 15 minutes per day to just write. Do nothing else but write. Like just write, get it out of your head. If you have some notes on a sheet of paper or in your phone, take that time to organize the information and put everything one place so that you can now have a good framework of the book that you want to get published. How does that sound? Does that sound like a plan? Rachel, is that you? Is that your challenge for this week? Rachel says she doesn't have a book as yet. Oh, you have a book, but not yet published. Oh, you're like me. You have everything put down on the computer. Get to it, dear. Get to it, man. That was so me. Like I had so much of what I wanted to share. All of it was on my computer. Because I'm a typist, I type everything. I write as little as possible. So get to it. All right. So any questions before we leave tonight? And I hope that this session was super helpful for you. Let me know. Did you find this information valuable? I did my best. I did my best. I'm the online course coach. I'm the online business guru. But I have a book, so I think I know a little stuff. You understand? All right. So how was tonight's session? Did you get any value from what was shared here? And hopefully I put some fire under some of your skins to really get that book out there. Like I have a keynote speech to deliver next week. And one of the things that the young lady met me a few months ago, and she was so impressed. One of the things she was so impressed about that I was able to take what I knew and package it into a book. And when she met me in person, she was like, no, man, this girl needs to speak at my next conference. That's like, she told me this from January. And she didn't stop until she pitched me to the planning team, and they eventually decided that they were gonna book me for the keynote speech. So yeah, excitement. I have my first keynote speech next week. Yay! It's exciting. Fret not, plans in place. All right. So Rachel, the book is going to be ready by the week of the 28th of November. Is that what you're trying to say to me? For those of you who don't know, let me just put a shameless plug. My 2-year business anniversary is officially going to be on the 28th of November, 2020. I'm having a whole week of celebration that you guys will start hearing about as of next week. I'm super excited already. So you're going to be hearing just a whole heap of fabulous things coming through for that week. So I'm celebrating all week long, and you are going to be like, I'm going to be flooding your inboxes. I'm going to be flooding your timelines, and everything is either free or 50% off. So please keep an eye out for that coming in November. Okay, so 2021 for the book. I'm holding you to your word. Please tell me which month so I can add it into my calendar and just send you a message and ping you, email you or something and say, hello, where's the book? As a matter of fact, I've been doing that for a lot of people in my life, like people who are closest to me. When they tell me that they want to write a book, I say, when is the date? And I have a few people I need to, the last person, her book was due in June. And it was a few weeks late, and I was like, what's going on here? What's happening? And so I have another person to send a reminder. They told me that their book was going to be ready for December. So like a month, like in about a month's time, I'm going to remind them that their book is due in December, and they need to send me the draft copy so I can read. Like I've been doing that I don't know why I get so excited about people writing books these days, but yeah, I've been being that kind of accountability for some people in my life. So give me the day, give me the month, Rachel. I'm literally going to put this in my calendar. Guys, let me know, was tonight of value so we can go to our beds? Because I'm excited to know I could stay here all night and talk. Y'all know me already. Was this evening's session helpful in any way? So if you need help with finding somebody to help you with your book, you can send me a message. I'll literally just copy and paste the Instagram handle of the people that I know, and just you decide who you want to help you along that journey. But the truth is, if you hire someone to help you, the process is going to be so much easier for you, especially if this is the first book that you are writing. You might come upon some technical handles. Like even though I was online for so long and I knew a lot of things about online, I didn't know much about book publishing. So I had to get help. Otherwise, I would have had a very permanent headache. Right? So yeah. All right. So that's it for tonight then, guys. Next week, we're going to jump into another topic as it relates to creating and building online brands. We may look at marketing strategies for book. Let's see. I haven't decided on. No, lie. Next week, we're having a special guest. I forgot. We're having a guest next week. So it's not going to be me alone next week. I've decided that we're going to be having guests on these sessions moving forward. So we are having our very first guest next week, Monday. And we're going to be sharing on another topic of literally how you can build a brand and a business online with your expertise, and with your knowledge. All right. So all the best. See you in 1 week time, same place. And as usual, giving value and having absolute fun doing it. All right. So good night, guys. And we'll talk next week. Rachel, you don't give me the month yet, you know. You haven't given me the month as yet, darling. I wonder if you know I'm waiting on it. Oh my goodness, you're welcome. You're welcome. Bye, Shakira. Bye, Rachel. Bye. Who else is in the comments? Sonny, Nie, whose name I don't think I'm pronouncing properly, but nevertheless, there are a few people also watching on Facebook. And we'll talk next